Hey everyone, Dr. Maya Reese here. It is 5 in the morning and the dogs are still sleeping and my office looks like a bomb hit it because I'm redoing all my bookshelves and trying to reorganize everything, which of course is the perfect thing to do right before the start of term, right? When you have a million things to do, that's exactly when you should embark on a huge organizational project. But I wanted to talk to you in the midst of my chaos because I wanted to talk about chaos. And I want to talk about our response to chaos and our response to the chaos that the world is throwing us. So let me see if I can kind of like get settled here in a way. I'm still in my pajamas and I put on some mascara because I'm still apparently a slave to the patriarchy, but like whatever. Chaos. We live in chaos. We live in a time of unprecedented uncertainty. And even when I say that, part of me wants to go unprecedented because I'm a historian and I'm not entirely sure it is actually unprecedented. I'm pretty sure every era in history has been full of uncertainty because every era has been human and uncertainty is kind of, our brand. But I want to talk about our response to that uncertainty and the way that culture tries to tell us to respond to it versus the ways that actually work. So, like, I've had anxiety and depression and a panic disorder as long as I can remember. I think I had my first panic attack when I was like 8, and I couldn't even really articulate it or even identify what it was until much, much later. So, I understand that I'm coming from a place of empathy for the amount of anxiety people have, but I think that our solutions to that anxiety are completely wrong because we live in a culture that is trying to sell us stuff. Everything, things, ideas, self help books that are supposed to cure this like innate spiritual hunger that we have. And if you don't like the word spiritual, welcome to the club. I hate it too, but it's the something. It's that need for transcendence, for significance, for a connection maybe to something bigger than what we are. And so the world gives us spirituality. And for those of us who grew up in really restrictive religious environments, spirituality feels safer, right? Because it's not religion, and religion is really traumatic for a lot of people. So spirituality feels like this like safe place. But the problem is that spirituality is bullshit because what is it? It's a focus on this thing that we call the spirit. Well, what is that? The spirit is entirely individual, right? It exists within you. The spirit is entirely disembodied, right? So it's not here in our bodies, it's somehow here. And so when we're told that we have a spiritual crisis, we're given spiritual solutions, which is here, read this self-help book or go to this conference where some remarkably good-looking person tells you to like awake the hero within or whatever, or go to some $2,000 meditation retreat, right? Because that's going to do it. And we keep looking for the solution to the problem exactly where the solution is not. So about 10 years ago, I was just riddled with anxiety in a way that I hadn't been in the past. My career was in major question. The academic job market is not a path of certainty for anybody who's thinking about doing it. Think about something else as a backup because I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know. I mean, I had enough money to know that I wasn't going to be homeless, but I didn't know what city I was going to be in. I didn't know if I was going to have health insurance. I didn't know if I was going to be happy in whatever career I found myself in. And I was inundated and overwhelmed with panic, with anxiety, and with depression. And I realized that part of what was causing all of that mental noise was the amount of suffering I was seeing in the world and how insurmountable that suffering felt. And so I made this decision to align my life or my actions with my values. So I personally was really upset about the animal cruelty I was seeing everywhere, particularly the abandoned and abused pets like dogs and cats that were just being discarded and sitting in shelters waiting to be euthanized. And it just felt so profoundly unjust because these were beings that humans had bred for companionship. We had entered into some kind of like moral contract with them, and then we just like abandoned it. And I would I would have a panic attack at 3 in the morning thinking about the fact that there were millions and millions of dogs that couldn't get a home and were going to be killed. So what I decided to do was, okay, I'm just gonna start fostering dogs. I'm just going to reach out to a rescue. I'm going to start fostering dogs. I'm going to start volunteering. And I'm certainly not going to solve the problem. I'm certainly not going to convince the world that these incredibly emotionally intelligent beings should be treated like incredibly emotionally intelligent beings. But something really magical happened because when I started actually doing something, even if it was small and even if it was relatively insignificant, my anxiety got better. I mean, not entirely, right? Because I still have to take medication and talk to a therapist every week and identify my triggers and be present and develop my mental health skills. But it got a lot better. And I realized that the solution to this crisis of meaning and this crisis of significance that so many of us are feeling, the solution isn't inside of ourselves. The solution is out there. So when people tell me, and I have students who tell me this all the time, that they have all of these doubts that they can't find God and they want to find God, or they are terrified of finding God because God was used as a weapon against them when they were kids, and they want something. They're starving for something. And what I tell them is that God or the significance or transcendence, whatever word you want, is not at the end of the self help book. God is not on the meditation retreat. God is in the empty stomach of that kid over there. God is in that dog that needs a home. God is in that person who is unhoused and needs compassion and help, right? God is in other people's need and in other people's pain. That's where you're going to find it. And try, right? Because if it's not there, if you adopt that dog, or you try to feed that child, or you try to help that unhoused person, or you contribute to some organization that's trying to do that, maybe nothing will happen. Maybe you'll still be an anxious mess. It's entirely possible. I make absolutely no promises, but at least you'll done some good in the world, right? And I actually have a sneaking suspicion that you won't still be an anxious mess, or you'll be a little bit less of an anxious mess. Because I think that our solutions are always going to be the profitable ones. That's the thing that culture is going to tell us. It's going to tell us the stuff that can be fulfilled through materiality, and it can be fulfilled through an economic, transactional relationship. And that's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. The transactional will never be transcendent. You will never find peace and calm, not lasting peace and calm inside your own head by sitting still and just like breathing. That will help in the short term, and you should definitely learn how to do it. But if you want a long-term solution to the anxiety and crisis of meaning and significance that so many people are feeling, I promise you, go help somebody. I don't care if it's a dog or a cat or a person or an organization. Just go put your anxiety into your body and go do something with your body. Stop trying to do it with your spirit. Stop trying to do it with your mind. Do it with your hands. Do it with your feet. Do it with something that requires something from you. Because that's the other problem with contemporary spirituality, is it requires nothing from us, right? It doesn't want to require anything from us, because if it requires something from us, then we might not buy it. So instead, it's just this like, here, Just like think this way, change your thinking, change your life, see that everything is a blessing, everything works out for the good, and everything will be fine, and you just have to like let them, or you just have to, I don't know, fill in the blank, right? And I'm not bashing those self-help people. I think they're probably in good intention, they have good intentions and they're doing the right thing, but it's not going to be here. It's going to be in the thing that costs you something. It has to cost you something. And I promise you, I have pee stains on my carpet, and I have dog hair on my best clothes, and I have, you know, a little less money in my bank account, and I don't always get, you know, sleep because there's some, you know, sad crying puppy that needs my attention, or whatever it is. In fact, some of them are right over there right now. But I feel better. I promise you, you'll feel better. Because even if it costs, remember that you're getting something in return that is so much more valuable than anything that you could buy with your money. Anything you could buy with your money. By focusing on need, like this need, by focusing on the needs of real beings, whether they're people or animals or the environment or whatever, but the needs of life. By meeting those needs, trying to do your best to meet those needs in the full understanding that you will never fully succeed, I promise you, you'll feel better. So that's well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'm Dr. Maya Vries. Thanks for listening to my 5 a.m. rant. And if you like this, like and subscribe. But more importantly, don't like and subscribe. Go out and help somebody. That's what's more important. Thanks, guys.